Okay, so first of all, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining the session. Today is our first session, so I'll just start with a quick introduction about the course and myself. So, Salesforce, as you know, one of the top four platforms available for in terms of cloud computing. After Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, Salesforce is basically both in terms of number of users and number of dollar values, market cap. They're pretty much number four on the block. Again, it's not widely popular as other couple of platforms because it is very niche technology. It has to do with CRM systems, so not everybody knows about it. A couple of years back, I was first introduced to Salesforce through a friend, and since then I'm pretty much in love with the technology, love with the culture, and they were actually pioneers in a lot of other lot of things that we basically start using since then, and a lot of folks don't even know about that. Salesforce was the first one who come up with some of these concepts. So for example, you can see once you get into Salesforce, you can able to appreciate the full community environment that they have provided. Before Salesforce, there's no real concept of community. There were a couple of different groups and few minor things that were happening, but Salesforce actually come up with this community concept where they have created something called Salesforce communities, where they can have different groups, they have different sessions. Every small and big city have their weekend groups. They have job portals. Then they come up with this Dreamforce, which happens once a year. The next one is actually happening right now. It usually one of the biggest, if not the only biggest uh, platform in terms of annual gatherings. Hundreds and thousands, hundreds and hundred, I think close to 200,000 or maybe 150,000 people actually gather in San Francisco every year to mark the Dreamforce. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, this year didn't happen in person, but still it's going to be a very cool online event that they gather. Coming back to some other initiatives, Salesforce was probably the first fully 100% cloud-based solution, a SaaS solution that initiated in 1999, I believe. So way before AWS, way before Amazon, they were the first one and kind of one of the pioneers in cloud computing, because they had a lot of other competition back in the time in terms of CRM, and most of the solutions were on premise. What on premise means that you have your all the hardware actually need to install on the customer side, and also need to have all of these hardware wired up. And basically, if you need more capacity, you need more hardware. If you need to log into that, you need to build kind of internal VPN networks and things of that sort. So that was pretty normal back then. Salesforce comes up with a 100% cloud-based platform where their customers do not require any kind of hardware or software for that matter. So that was the first time that they come up with. Initially, they had a lot of hurdles. Obviously, companies were not comfortable sharing their data because at the end of the day, all the data was hosted on Salesforce servers. But the concept was great. They start kind of getting traction, and ultimately, about 10 years or so back, they were really doing really good. And every year, if you go back and see their transition in terms of market cap, is just going double and double and double. So now I think they are one of the most used CRM system across the board. So that's some of the things about Salesforce. Now coming back to the training and myself, so I've been in technology field over 15 years, and I'm really a person who likes to explore things and then try to take chances in life because we have only one life. So my educational background is I have done my master's in telecommunication and IT back in 2003. And since then, I've been working in technology. I've worked for a lot of Fortune 500 companies in different roles. Some of the roles that I really enjoyed was business development roles, project management roles, program management roles, and they are all somehow related to technology. So I had this mixed bag of technology background plus the management background, which kind of helped me to get to point where I am today. So at the moment, I've been affiliated with one of the top three Salesforce partners, Acumen Solutions, working as a program manager and managing a couple of their high-profile clients. At the moment, I'm actually working for a Fannie Mae project. Prior to that, some of the biggest project that Salesforce had was one of them was Veteran Affairs. I was part of that project, did a couple of so that was like a one big project for 5 to 10 years. So I was lucky to be part of one of their implementation for a local Veteran Affairs office in Fredericksburg. That was about 6 months project. Apart from that, a couple of other companies, Allegis is one of the big partner. They have this Salesforce instance being built on for about 3 years, and I was part of the last leg for the last 1 year during 2018, where I helped them finish the project and basically launch it. They are one of the um, um, biggest recruitment firms in the world, about $20 billion cap. They have about 8 to 10 companies. Aerotech, Tech, and other companies are probably some of the most famous names out there. If you are in a job market, you probably know about them. So work with them very closely. On their premise was a pretty big team of 150 plus engineers working hand in hand. Apart from that, I have this training and mentoring um, um, affiliation for about 10 to 15 years since my starting of the career. Even before I started as a professional trainer, I was engaged in coaching, training, and a lot of these things throughout my career. I have done a lot of corporate trainings. I have done software trainings, built softwares from the scratch. I have also take part as a development person, as a technical. So it's just like a good mixed bag of both experience from the management side and technical side. So that's where I am pretty helpful. And one of the main features about working with me is not just the training content. At this moment, everybody understand that the era that we're sitting in, getting any contact is no brainer. You can either spend a little bit of money or you can get it for free. That's not a big challenge. The challenge is once you have that information, how you're gonna make it and really turn it around and make it useful in a limited amount of time and make it to enhance your results. So that's where the coaching part comes in, because I've been there. I have gone through a lot of these different stages. So I'm here to help you guys. And basically, one of the core ideas behind this whole program is to give kind of a consulting and coaching attitude towards how you can achieve your goals. And that goal could be, in some cases, finding a new job. In some cases, it could be enhancing your existing skills. In some cases, in order to get more exposure to some of these platforms, and you can add that into your portfolio in order to gain more traction in your current project. So whatever your end goal is, I'm definitely here for help. This whole program will run in 3 different phases. The most closely and more scheduled phase will be the phase 1, which we are starting today. So it's going to be 6 sessions starting today, where we go through the more technical part of it, where we will go through actual Salesforce content. It's more like a technical, where you can actually do the technical work, set up stuff, and basically able to understand how Salesforce really works. So you can call this at Salesforce 101 course as well. And again, this is very technical. So you will be actually spending time in doing stuff. So these 3 hours will be super packed of information that you can gather. And once you are done with the session today or any of the week, you have about 6 days that you can go back and spend and do the practice part. And that's very critical. Without going back and doing it yourself, basically doesn't give you a leverage in the next session. Everything that we're going to discuss in these sessions, the next session is super connected. So if you, for whatever reason, do not able to catch up on the content that we are discussing, you may able to gather the information, but it's going to be becoming hard and hard if you continuously skipping. So ideal scenario will be if you can dedicate some time, and I would say 10 hours should be more than enough per week if you can spend apart from this training in order to go back and kind of a review and practice the content that we're going through. And if you have some questions, we can find a couple of different ways to answer that. We may not able to go through the questions during this, but what I'm going to do is I'll create either a separate WhatsApp group, or you can contact me via messages or something if you're stuck somewhere, or we can schedule like a follow-up session just for the troubleshooting aspects of it. So we can kind of decide one or the other modes of troubleshooting part. Other than that, again, as I said, I will go through quickly how you can create your Salesforce instance, and that will be our first topic, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you very much for trusting and becoming part of it. Again, Salesforce is a really cool platform. It's a life-changing for a lot of people who were struggling in their career, and it's kind of an enhancement for those who are already really good in their career, but give them another different area to explore and get even better. Like for example, in my case, so I was in IT, I was in telecommunication, but this gives me a whole different new area to play around. Salesforce is, again, as I said, it's a very big ecosystem. They have overall about 25 plus different clouds, and those clouds are basically kind of extension of what we're going to learn today. So basically, just to give you a quick perspective, what we're learning in terms of certification, it is related to a certification called Admin 201. However, don't confuse and get bogged down by the name admin. It doesn't mean that if you want to become admin, this is for them. It's absolutely a wrong concept. Admin 201 certification, basically what it does is just make sure that you have a really good understanding of the Salesforce platform. Once you have that and you get the Admin 201 certification, that will basically make you basically enable to start exploring other clouds within the Salesforce. And from that point onwards, you probably do not need any further training, except if it is very, very particular. There are a few clouds which are very particular and they have a different flavor. I'll talk about that some other time. But most of them which are built on same platform, which is we are going to go through, which is probably 70-75% of the Salesforce, you can do it on your own. So it's all on your own after that, once you get this first certification done. And the main idea is to go through the whole cycle, go through the content, go through other resources which are available, go through the cert exam preparation and the exam and passing. Once you go through this whole 360 journey, you should be good to go and start enhancing from there. So from this point onwards, let's say if it takes a month, 2 months, 3 months to get your first certification in Salesforce, from that point onwards, you can target every couple of months a new certification. And again, you can do it pretty much on your own, because by that time you understand the platform, you understand the resources. All you need to do is just to go ahead and practice and gain knowledge. And then whenever you're ready, sit for cert and get a cert. And then from that point onwards, you can have multiple certification that you can bag every so often. So that's a generic idea. Again, the main platform is built on Salesforce idea that we're going to start learning today. And then other clouds, they are not really different. They are basically based on different business processes. For example, let's say Sales Cloud. So Sales Cloud, based on the sales cycle, how the sales cycle works. So very generically, sales cycle works like you have a lead converted into account converted into lead converted into account, an opportunity and contact. And once you have that, then basically you go in and see if the opportunity actually closes in terms of you get the project, or if you lose the project, and there are different stages in between. And then you basically at the end of the day say, okay, we got the project, this is the work. So this whole business process is embedded into the Sales Cloud. Now they figured that once you have the sale is done, then there are a lot of businesses where you have a follow-up business process for service. So what they did is basically in service, the business process is slightly different. So instead of lead and all that, now you have a project where people are basically, they already sold, they're your clients, but they're calling for some issues or some services that you have promised, or maybe you're doing upsell or whatever that is. So that process was slightly different. So they basically, what they did, instead of enhancing more and more stuff on the Sales Cloud, they said, okay, Sales Cloud is good, everything's working. Now, if you need a service part of it, we have created another cloud which has a slightly different business process embedded in there, and then you can start using from there. And that's how the service cloud evolved. Once they have service cloud, they figured, okay, now they people need to do marketing, sale, marketing, and kind of do the next level where they can get new clients. So they created another one, marketing cloud. Then they figured out there's a lot of demand for e-commerce. They have e-commerce. Then they understood, okay, there's a healthcare. They can use sales service, but again, it's not very kind of targeted to them. So they again make some changes. Again, most of these changes are from business side, how you define the business, but the core platform still remains the same with some additions of features that can they throw in more related features into each cloud, and then they kind of start building different clouds from there. So now we have financial cloud, we have health cloud, we have education cloud, we have non-profit cloud, we have sales cloud, service cloud, marketing cloud. So you can keep adding. And I guess at this point, we are sitting somewhere on 20, 25 different clouds. Again, as I said, it doesn't mean that you have to go to all of them. At the end of the day, you will have either you are in either functional role. In that case, you just need to know how some of these cloud works, or if you are more technical in nature, you can pick a side and you can decide, okay, which is the area that you want to concentrate in future once you get into the Salesforce ecosystem. So that's nothing that you need to decide right now. Right now, all you need to do is just to concentrate on this Salesforce Admin 201 or Salesforce 101. Once you get there, once you get the certification and maybe start working into the Salesforce environment, that's where you can decide. So a lot of people, they started working on, let's say, Sales Service Cloud. Later on, they realize that they have a lot of marketing background, and probably marketing cloud is the best area for them. They can move there. Some other folks, they realize that, okay, now I already understand how Salesforce works. Admin 201 cert is done. My background is more financial in nature. So let me go ahead and start looking into more financial cloud area and health cloud and so on and so forth. So basically, your future will, you do not need to decide right now. You don't need to understand all of that right now. Right now, what you need to concentrate is a very strategically, what is this Admin 201? What is the Salesforce, and how does I go in there? Once you have that, then in future, once you have the certification, then you start looking into those areas. Also, my methodology, and again, you may or may not agree with that, but if you do, it might be to just focus on one thing at a time. So in my case, if you are working in this one, and obviously one of your goals is to get certified and then either get a job or enhance your existing career, is your first milestone should be complete this course in 6 weeks, and then hopefully you should be able to practice everything end to end. After that, the second phase will start. That's where you're going to focus more on to getting certified. Complete all the practice tests, make sure that you are aligned with how the testing works. Basically, your pace is there. You can able to do the examination, able to pass it, secure Salesforce certification. So that is phase 2. And then on the phase 3, basically, that's where either you are enhancing your existing career, or maybe you're shooting for a new job or position. That's where we concentrate on that. So try to focus on each milestone as much as possible. Do not worry about the second and third stage, because if you start kind of trying to do a lot of things in parallel, even you cannot able to achieve your targets in time. So my goal for you and my advice to you, again, obviously everybody has a different way of executing stuff, and that's all fine. But what I have seen from the experience, if you're dedicated and just concentrating on one milestone at a time without worrying about the future, you will be better off in achieving those targets in time. And that's our goal. So with that, our first target, we are going towards it, and that's what we're going to concentrate more about. Everything we're going to talk about is right now how we can understand the Salesforce platform at the moment. Okay, so with that, let me quickly go through some of the contents that I have for today, and then we can basically start jumping into our Salesforce instance. So the process will work like I have two pieces of information that I'm gonna send you via email after each session by the end of the day or early next day. One is this presentation. Again, this is kind of a very high level couple of things that is available that you can review it. Most of the information we will talk about it on a high level, but it will give you kind of a very descriptive way what are the topics that we go through and high level pointers. The other one will be a PDF version of this document that I'm going to try to kind of follow up a little bit more closely. And this one will give you, I'm going to update this during the sessions as well. And that way, if we need to add something or if we need to discuss about something, I can add here and I'll save it and I'll send a copy of this for your record. So in that way, you can also kind of track your progress. And if you need to go back and review what topics has done, or for later purposes as well, it could be a good notebook for you to able to follow. So with that, today's our first session. I already started with the introductions. If you want to follow me, this is my LinkedIn profile. I will definitely accept any of your connection requests. If you send me, I'm just gonna copy my LinkedIn in your chat box. So if you're there, you can able to pick it up from the chat box. And definitely, I love to connect with any of you on LinkedIn. And that's again one of my main areas. The next one is, let's quickly jump into what is CRM. So again, from this point onwards, basically it's all about Salesforce. It's all about different of the functionalities. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my video because now we just need to concentrate on the content itself. So, all right, so what is CRM basically? So CRM is a customer relationship management system. And what does it really mean? What it means is any business, when they are operating, one of their key ingredient is to work with the customer and sell their products or services. Just before I move forward, is everybody able to hear me clearly and able to see the screen? If somebody can just mute themselves and just let me know, or just on a chat box. Okay, perfect. Very good. Okay, just want to make sure. In case if you don't hear me or if you don't see the screen, just right away either unmute yourself and let me know, or just give me some indication so I'm aware of it. All right, very good. So basically, CRM is customer relationship management system, and again, as I said, you can be either selling a service or a product to your customer. So usually, let's say if you sell something, you need to make a record of that transaction. So you need to know the name of the person you sell to, you need to know the price, you need to know the product, so that in future you have a record of what you have sold. On top of it, what is information about your customer. So this system, in a very short form, is CRM system. On a very basic level, you can just you can just start something on a very basic Excel sheet. So you can create an Excel sheet like this, and you can say, okay, I'm starting a brand new business. I need to get some information about my customers. So I can start with something like, okay, I can get the name of my customer. I can get, for example, let's say if I'm selling something where I need some more information like address of the customer. In some cases, you may or may not need, all depend upon what you're selling. Maybe I also need to know the product they are purchasing from us. I may also need to know if anything else, like what is the age of that person, and more information, whatever you need. So you can bring that up, and as soon as, so these are your high level fields that you are saying that, okay, this is the information that I need. And once you have your first customer who is ready to buy something, you can gather that information, and either while he's there or offline, you can basically get all that information, and that's how you can start populating all that information in your Excel sheet, right? And this is how you can get a track of how many products that you have sold or how many customers you have. Now with this information, you also have the address of the person. You may also collect email of your customer. You can also collect a phone number, and what you can do is basically you can use the email for reselling or upselling for future. Same thing, you can use the phone number for following up via SMS messages, or maybe following up, some other, like functional transactions or marketing transactions. You can send your different advertisement via phone messages, or you can send, let's say, the receipts via phone messages. So it's all totally depend upon how do you want to use that. But that information will start getting very, very vital for your business, because in future, if you're running some new campaigns, you can use that information, and not only it will help you to keep a record of the information that you already sold, but also will be super helpful for future. So coming back to our CRM is basically, on a very nutshell, it's a customer information that you're saving. It could be their personal information, or it could be related to the product or service that you're selling. Second thing that you probably start hearing a lot is SaaS platform. So SaaS is basically stands for software as a service. So what does SaaS mean? So when you are actually looking into different type of platforms, some of them are already kind of a built-in. So for example, if everybody has, I'm sure everybody is using Microsoft Word or Microsoft Suite or Microsoft Office, whatever you want to call them. So that's kind of example similar to a SaaS platform. It means that that product is already built in. All you need to do is just to pay the fee, download it, and install it, and you're good to go. You put your credentials. If it is already paid, that product is ready, and you can start sending email, or you can start using your Excel or Word and stuff like that. So that is an easy example of SaaS platform. There is another type of platform called PaaS platform, which is platform as a service, which means that you are just given an environment where you can build your own product or own software. So for example, AWS is an example of PaaS platform, which means that they give you an environment, they throw some machines in there, they throw the operating system, Linux or Windows or whatever system you are seeking for, and then you have developers who will develop a new software from there or new solution on that particular platform. So basically, SaaS platform, you can also consider that as a cookie cutter solution, meaning that it's already built in, it has all the features, you can start using as is. So Salesforce is one of the SaaS platform, meaning that full solution is already cooked and baked and ready to eat. However, as soon as you get the solution, if you have the minimal requirements, let's say if your business process is super minimal, let's say you are just starting a business, you have a small company of 10 people, you are planning to sell some cell phones, and then you want to use Salesforce as your CRM system. In that case, if it is super generic, you can actually use it as is, and you can just pay a license fee for Salesforce. They give you it, you can turn it on and start using it. So Salesforce can be used as is, and that's why this is a very cookie cutter solution. However, in majority of the cases, I would say 80% or more, is where your business process is very unique, because each business is unique. So even if there are two cell phone sellers, their business process may or may not be the same. Maybe one person collect your receipts in a different way, other has a different way. You have a different team structures. You have maybe marketing, sales, and management. They might have a different team structure. Maybe their sales and marketing the same team. Maybe the process and steps might be different. So based upon the individual business, your process may be slightly different, and that's where all these Salesforce consultants comes into play, because in most of the cases you can although you can use Salesforce as is, but because each business has a very unique business process and the way they want to operate their business process, they want to have it the way they desire and they want to run the business. That's where you will hire either a Salesforce consultant or a Salesforce consulting firm who is not directly Salesforce. So just to give you a high level idea, Salesforce themselves provide licenses like Microsoft. So Microsoft normally provide Office 360 or other different licenses that you can buy from them. Now, if you need to build a system, there will be third-party vendors which are available. So same thing in Salesforce. Salesforce primarily, their job is to provide and sell the licenses. They are not competing in terms of implementation. So they have created an ecosystem where the other companies like Accenture, like Acumen, like Deloitte, These are a couple of big ones, but then there is a suite of huge number of different consulting companies who comes into play. And if a person who owns a business, he needs to deploy Salesforce, then Salesforce either recommend them, hey, this is the list of our vendors, go ahead and just start calling them and see whoever gives you the best price, or whoever you likes, you can hire them for actually doing the implementation, and then we can sell you the license. So let's say if that company is looking for 10 licenses, Salesforce will tell them that each license will cost X amount of money, it's going to be per month, and this is your bill going to be every month. And then this is a list of our vendors. You can go ahead and choose any vendor of your liking based upon the price, performance, recommendations. And once you have your system up and running, we will give you the licenses, and then they will set up the system for you. In terms of setting up the system, it can take, let's say, a week, and then it can take up to a couple of years. It's all depend upon how complicated is the system. So if we really talk about a small 10 people basic system, very generic with some changes, we can set up, in a couple of days, maybe 2 to 5 days, we can set up a very basic system, kind of a little bit optimized for them based on their requirement, and they're ready to go. However, if we talk about big systems, like I gave you an example for Allegis Group, who is one of the biggest recruiting firm in the world, for them, spinning off a full Salesforce 360 took about 3 years and 150 plus consultant. Same thing with some other big clients that I've worked with, like Fannie Mae. They have this huge team of probably 200 plus consultants. They build their solution, and then they're continuously upgrading that system, and they have a dedicated team of Salesforce who is continuously improving the system. Although they have a base system which is optimized, up and running, I can accept their base system could have taken a year, maybe 2 years to build from scratch. And after that, they still need the similar number of people. And because this is now ongoing, they're continuously enhancing, continuously improving. And because the ROI is so high that these people will see the value, and they actually continuously spend money because they are making money via investing into their CRM systems, and that becomes more of their backbone of the system. So their whole system will be start relying on your Salesforce capabilities, functionalities, speed. Lot of things will come into play. And then that's how, in case a lot of people may have questions, which again, we are not answering at the moment, we'll set up separate sessions for those kind of discussions. But basically, one of the questions comes in, okay, if we build a system, have the system ready, we give it to the client, we move on to the next project. So it will basically finished, and obviously it's not going to be like everybody's building system. But the thing is, once they build the system, within a couple of months or a year, they need to do enhancement, because these things are changing very rapidly. Their business process itself changes. The business itself progress, hopefully. And then they also need to make more changes, need to adopt more functionalities and things of that sort. So this is like a continuous cycle. So once somebody start using Salesforce or similar solutions, in any case, they need to have continuous involvement from the consultants, from the whatever platform they picked up. Even if they built a very customized, without any customized solution on .NET or Java or anything, even then they need a team of consultants to continuously improve and troubleshoot and enhance their system. So that's where this SaaS and PaaS platform comes up. So keep in mind, once I show you the Salesforce, it's basically a very ready to go system, and you can actually use it as is. However, as I said, why you cannot really use on every business, mostly 80% of the business, you cannot use it as is, because every business has a different business process, and you need to integrate your business process into Salesforce, not the other way around. You will not, as a business, you will not start following how Salesforce has laid out the business process, but you want to change Salesforce a little bit or more based upon how much your process is variant from the base process of Salesforce, in a way that Salesforce will adopt your organization business process, not the other way around. So that's where all of these customization comes up. So as I said, we will see first how the the base model looks like, what does it mean, and then some of those terminologies will start coming up shortly. The next item, I just want to give you a quick heads up, because all of these things we will be continuously talking about, so it's good to note them right off the bat. So we will be keep gonna talking about something, two main terminologies I'll be using a lot, which is standard and custom. So anytime when I'm saying standard, and it can be associated with a standard app, and again, now we are already inside Salesforce. So anything that I'm talking about while Salesforce is by default the platform that we are already in. Okay, so I'm not going to say Salesforce every time. It just mean that now we are already inside the Salesforce. So when I'm going to say standard application, standard objects, standard fields, custom objects, custom app, custom fields, it means that anything that is already created by Salesforce or coming as a default, that is standard, and something that we are making changes or creating new for our business processes, or the variant of the business processes that is not come as a standard, is called custom. So a very easy example is when you buy a car, there are a lot of features which come standard. For example, air conditioning. You have an engine, you have windows, you have music system. But then some of folks, they said, no, you know what, there are three standard colors, but I need a different type of a custom color. So you will pay something extra, and they will do a very customized color for your car, and that could be unique to your car. It could be other people can have it, but it is unique in a way that it doesn't come standard. Same thing for the music system. Let's say they have a standard music system, you want to enhance one, and they say, okay, if you spend X amount of money, there are a couple of the market system that we can install, and then basically you start customizing your vehicle. So same thing in Salesforce, there will be a lot of items, features which come standard, you can use it as is, but if that doesn't align with your organization business processes, what you will do is basically you start customizing them based upon your organization custom processes. So again, as I said, the emphasis is not what Salesforce is providing. They have provided something very cookie cutter, very generic, that can fit in some scenarios, but again, not every scenario. And the end goal is not to change your business process as per Salesforce, but basically enhance Salesforce in order to embed our processes so we can start using the CRM system. So keep in mind, these two terminologies will be coming up too often, which is standard. Anytime I'm saying standard, means this is available from Salesforce as a standard functionality. It could be a standard item. It could be something. Anytime I'm saying standard dash, meaning something comes with the Salesforce. Custom is something that you can able to change it, or you can able to basically create one if you need. Okay, the next is something in terms of interface. So I probably show this also, but very quickly, Salesforce, again, it's almost 20 years when Salesforce was created, and they are still very innovative. However, they maintain their interface to a very long time. So initially, the view that they have maintained an interface is something like when you go to a website, when you touch anything on web, the outer layer that you're looking at, like the buttons, the clicks, the pictures, the drop-down menus, everything is defined as interface, like the face of your website or face of your application. So the face of the application was very consistent for a very long time, about 12 plus minus years, and we term that as a classic. Now, like past about 5 years or so, they have enhanced that, and they come up with a new, more interactive, more robust, more user-friendly, more niche interface, and they call it Lightning. So you will probably come across these terminologies. Right now, Classic is almost at the verge of shutting down. I believe they had initially targeted for 2022, if I'm not mistaken. It may go a little bit further, or they might close it as per what they have initially told. But basically, you will start seeing this Classic go away very soon. Any organization that has built Salesforce in the past few years, they probably are already using Lightning. If the organization is old enough where they have built their system on Classic, they might be either completed their transition to Lightning or they are in process. So in Salesforce, when you start looking for jobs or you are working somewhere, you may find some project related to transition from Classic to Lightning, because that's kind of a process in itself. In some cases, it can be very quick. In some cases, it might take as long as year or more. It's a very intense process based on how much customization you have done. However, just keep in mind for you for now is I will show you two types of interfaces. We won't do much with Classic, but you just need to know where it is. Most of the functionalities are kind of similar, but the view is different, and you can able to appreciate that how nice and easy to use Lightning View is, and how much more functionality you can get out of it. And the speed is also a biggest difference. It will, the new Lightning interface, again, it's built on a um, different platform. It's more robust. It's more editable. It's more user friendly. You can do a lot of things that previously you cannot do in the Classic. So it's more nice looking and fast performing interface. So we will review that quickly, but again, for most part, we will be just sitting on Lightning and working using that interface. All right. So before I go into the apps part, let's switch to the to the email that I sent to you guys. In the email, I mentioned how you can sign up for Salesforce account. Let me see if I can bring that up. And again, I'm sure that some of you guys may get a chance and able to already install Salesforce and up and running. But in case if you haven't, that's not a problem. I can quickly walk you through the process, and hopefully you can able to do that after the class. So the first thing you need to notice is this email, this web address, developer.salesforce.com. And just for the ease, I'm gonna throw it in the chat box as well. Again, you may or may not need to do it right away, but something that you can, you should be able to do it right after the class. So here's the chat box. Okay, so in the chat box, I just throw this link right there. So basically, let's go to that link, and so this is the link. This is the one of the page. Again, you just start kind of bookmarking the different web pages that we will be visiting, because in sometimes, at least initially, you may get confused. So that's why it's very necessary to initially, at least for the first couple of weeks, make a very deliberate attempt to make sure to review your web address, because sometimes Salesforce automatically switch it from one to another. So make sure you are following the and you are actually sitting on the right web address. So this one where you are starting is developer.salesforce.com. And here you have two options, login and sign up. You need to use the sign up option from here and basically start creating your first developer edition. So everything that we are working will be in Salesforce. And as you said, it's called developer edition. This is a free version, a fully featured copy of Lightning. So now if you have now probably you have a better idea why they are saying Lightning platform, because this is not Classic, so it's 100% Lightning now. You can also switch back to Lightning, and I'll show you that in a moment. But basically, this is for free, so no charges. You can even create multiple of those if you need, in case if you want to practice on a different different versions for whatever reason. All you need is a unique email address. So let's start with filling the form. Again, all the standard information, your first name, last name, and then the email address. Make sure this is a working email. I have a very bad experience with Yahoo and Hotmail servers for some reason. Google always works out really good. But again, if you are using any of the servers, sometime based upon what is the response. Lately, I have seen some of the servers are kind of a slow in response. So in some cases, you may not see your emails for 5 minutes or sometime more, but that is very normal. Sometimes the servers are slow when creating, especially emails from automated platforms. So that's provided, no need to worry. Just check back in next 5-10 minutes. If you don't see it, you should be able to get it, as soon as the servers start working properly. So you got your name, last name, email address, something that you have a full access to. Then you can provide the role. There are different roles. We will start with just an administrator. It doesn't even matter, but you can choose administrator anyways. Company, you can put anything, ABC, whatever you want to put. It doesn't really matter. If you have your company, you can put in there. If not, then you can put ABC. It does not really matter. Country, obviously, I think everybody is from here. And then you can put your postal code. You can put arbitrary postal code. It does not matter. This is the most important one. Now, this is the username of the application, and the username has to be in shape of an email address. So it can or cannot be the same email address you are saying. So you can have, for example, here I can give alik216 at Yahoo. Here I can give anything that I want. So let's say I want to give alitest at yahoo.com or alitest at me.com, but it has to be in a shape of email address. That email may or may not contain, but just to keep things simple, and this is the best practice, is I'll just take the same email address that I have and I will also use as my username. However, just to keep in mind, you can have a different username, but username should be in form of the email address. That is more important. But just to keep the thing consistent, the best practice is to use the same email that you have and use the same email as a username. However, as I said, they can be different. All you need to do after that is say, okay, I'm going to register, sign me up, and then wait for the email on the email address that you have provided over here. So I have created a brand new account this morning, and I'll show you how the email looks like. And okay, this is a brand new email that I just created this morning for this session. And this is the email that I received when I signed up. You can even check the hours. So it's like 2 hours before. And all you need to do is you need to verify the account, and then you can basically provide your password. So I already provided that. That's why I cannot do this step, but you will receive something similar. You can verify and you can create your password and you are good to go. Once you have that done, after that, the next step will be, instead of going over here and doing login part, this will probably confuse you a little bit. So all you need to do is basically just remember this: login.salesforce.com. Okay, and I'll paste that as well. Just use this web address and basically sign in to your newly created Salesforce. So the first one where you created was developer.salesforce.com, and then the second step was you can go to your email, confirm that, and the third step is now you need to log in. Just go to straight login.salesforce.com and then provide the username that you have used over there at the bottom, which should be your email address, like in my case, and then the password that you set it up after the email comes up. As soon as you have done that, you can go ahead and sign in to your dev account. All right, so very good. So again, I have signed in into before, so I don't see that welcome message and stuff, but you will see like a welcome message and things. However, I haven't done much here, so it's kind of a very fresh, just created just for this particular session. So everything should be pretty much fresh, like the way you are seeing it. So usually when you can probably land it to the sales, this setup. Sorry, you may land it up to somewhere here like, on a different window. The window might be different, maybe something like this. I don't remember usually where does it launch the first time, but window maybe look different, which is fine. We'll just go through the interface very shortly, so you will know exactly how to navigate through it, so not a problem. But as soon as you've done that, it means that now you're officially inside the Salesforce dev account. Okay, so here you will able to see the name that you have provided over there. So I used K as my first name and Ali as my last name, and then I can log out and stuff like that. All right, so this is basically all about how to create your account, because this is where we will be doing everything, right? Let me go back to that presentation here. So this one, which I already sent it out along with my email to you, is basically you go to developer.com, sign up for the account, go to your email, give your password, and then you go to login.salesforce.com and then basically use the same user ID and password, and you should be in your Salesforce instance. So that's basically your first task. If you already done that, good. If you haven't done that, you can do it after the session and you should be good to go. So before I move forward, any questions that I can answer? And you guys can unmute yourself if you want, or you can throw that in your chat box. Either way is fine.
Hi, can you show us the view profile from classic to view profile? I was not able to do the
Uh,
last point. After creating the Salesforce account, you said switch to the view profile.
I haven't done that yet. All I'm saying is, can you, if you're able to create the profile, then you should be good. You should be able to log in into Salesforce. You should be good. I haven't done the other part yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, all I did is basically log in into the Salesforce, and let's say I'm sitting on the main screen. That's all I've done so far. So if you're able to create, successfully log in, then you should be good. Just in case, keep in mind that there are different other similar screens that you can log in, and just to give you an idea so that you don't get confused. So for example, if I go back to, for example, um, developer page. So what happened is sales. So the one that we are signing up, it's basically called developer account. There could be instance where you can accidentally sign up for like a sales account, sales cloud, and sales cloud is only valid for 1 month. That's like a 1 month trial account. The one that we signed up is not a trial account. This is called dev account or development account. In short, you can call it dev account, and this is for life. This is not a trial. This is not going to expire. You can use it as long as you need it, right? But the other one, like for example, if you accidentally, because I'm not able to show exactly how, but I mean, there are different links and different things that you can sign up, and it can lead you to sign up for Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and those accounts are only trial accounts for 1 month. So make sure if you see something like that, mean that you may have signed up for a wrong one. Again, same thing, go back to developer.salesforce.com, go to sign up, and then when you logging in, log in to the right location. Another thing, if you try to log in from here, sometime it will take you to another view. There are a lot of different things available. So let's say if I say I want to allow this, you will see it will take me to another view, which is probably a different view. So although I'm signed in, but I'm actually inside this as a signed in user, and this is like a different area. And again, we need to go back to the one. And again, initially you can basically navigate from here where we need, but just to keep things simple, try to just follow the steps for now. And once you have better understanding, then you can easily able to navigate between different platforms. There are different other community portals. They all need Salesforce user ID password. So once you have the better handle on it, you can easily able to use that in logging into the different portals that Salesforce provide. But for now, making sure that you are logged in into the dev version, able to use and able to create it, that is our primary target for now. Anybody else who has tried to create a Salesforce instance and have any issues? All right, so no comments means everything good. All right, so now let's move forward. Let me give a quick introduction to the interface for now, so that you can start kind of getting an idea that what are we looking at. So once you log in into the Salesforce, you will see the Salesforce logo right here. So in future, if you're working for a particular organization, you can have this logo based on your organization. So let's say if you're working for ABC company, you can able to put your own company logo here. You can optimize a lot of these things. So this whole look and feel can be customized based on each customer, just to give you an idea. So you may have worked on different systems in your professional life without even knowing that that system was built on Salesforce, because all Salesforce systems can be customized as much as you can in terms of colors, feel, look, tabs, buttons. What you want to show, it can appear as a very different view. However, The only way to check is either you can either you know that this is built on Salesforce, or if you have an admin access and you can go back and see it. Sometimes from the third, like a customer view, you cannot even able to see that this is like a Salesforce platform. So the biggest example of the Salesforce portal is your Amazon account. So if you log in into the Amazon account, and let's say you're trying to buy something, or even you're checking out and you're able to see the history, as soon as you buy something, you got an automated email. If you return something, you get an automated email. You can get automated reminders. You can get a lot of these things. So most of these, basically all of that infrastructure behind the scene is Salesforce. However, at no point in time you can able to know that this is Salesforce, because everything is customized based on Amazon, and this is all basically uh, under the under the under the covers is basically Salesforce working at its best. So other systems could include your bank account. If you have worked in different pharmacies or healthcare, so the system from where they're accessing their customer information or patient information, or their partner information, vendor information, a lot of those platforms are CRM systems, and there's a good chance that they might have built on Salesforce. So you can customize a lot of these views, but again, we'll work on a default one for now, and in future you may able to change it as per your customer, or as per your own requirement. The first thing I would like to mention here is this app launcher. So this 9-button rubric or app launcher as a more official name. If you click on that, and if you click all the way to view all, this will right away give you two main items. If I just gonna collapse these two, so you will see all the apps as I talked about. So now we are already inside the Salesforce, and you can create multiple apps, and they have something called all items, which will include some additional information, which we will talk about soon once you get a better idea what we're talking about. So in all apps, you can see something called service, marketing, community, chatter, content, console, service console, sales, lightning, CMS, bold solution, lightning, and test app. So just to give you a very high level, service is nothing, it's an app, but in our higher verbiage, we can actually call this service cloud. So service cloud is not really something which is like a separate login or separate solution. It's basically an app already built in into the Salesforce. So this is your service cloud. This is your sales cloud. This is a slight different flavor of the sales cloud in terms of console. So a lot of companies have a lot of their sales teams or their associates sitting and making a lot of calls and things like that. So they have just a different view, a slightly different interface for them, and they just call it sales console. But basically these two, sales console and sales, are kind of identical things, just slightly different viewpoints and then slightly different features. But other than that, the overall business process are pretty much similar. Same thing with service console and service. Both of these are actually come under the service cloud itself. If you generically want to say is a service cloud, it is fine. It's just two different views. So either you will pick up a service cloud generic view, or you can pick up a console view based upon the client requirements and what they want to do with that. Also keep in mind that service cloud, sales cloud, marketing cloud, community cloud, CMS, and there are many more which are not included in the dev version, which is a free version. There are a lot more clouds. As I said, they are close to 25 different cloud which are available, and they are not all available for practicing purposes. So these are just the generic ones which are available. But just keep in mind, there is a health cloud, there's a education cloud, NPSP, there's a e-commerce cloud, there's so many other clouds. Again, they are not available. You can still get them, their trial versions from the website, or you can request Salesforce for a trial version. But usually they are more required when you are working in a certain scenario and you are trying to use a certain cloud. Uh, but other than that, just keep in mind that each of them actually, like in the dev version, obviously it's free for testing and doing your preparation for the exam and learning Salesforce. But if you are really want to use any of those like service or a sales, these are like separate, considered as a separate clouds and with the separate licensing cost. So it means that if I'm starting my company and I need a sales cloud, I may pay X amount of dollars and get a couple of licenses for them, start using it. Tomorrow, I need to use Service Cloud. It means that that's not just something automatically available. I need to kind of work with Salesforce team and maybe implementation team, and actually need to pay extra money in terms of licenses for Service Cloud, and then maybe work with the integration team to actually integrate, or integration team or Salesforce consultant to actually kind of build a process in there. So the process will become seamless. It will be under the same umbrella, under the same login, but you actually paying separate license cost, and same thing goes for other clouds, marketing and community and so on and so forth. So just to give you an idea, although these tabs looks okay, everything is coming up together, but it's each of them is basically a separate licensing cost. And professionally, when you are using it, the paid versions, they do not come as a default. You will only pay for, you will only get what you're paying for. And again, sales and service console, these two things can be configured, so don't worry about that. But other than that, overall sales, overall service, overall marketing, overall community, these are separate clouds. However, in Salesforce is basically just an application, which we are calling cloud as a more generic term. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. And what we will be doing in our training session is we will create our own application. And again, when we're saying application, is basically is similar to what we are using in like a sales console and service console, but we will create our own, and we will use some standard and some custom functionalities and features in that, and we will create a very customized app for our practice purposes. And you will get an idea that when you are working in the field, how does that can be configured by utilizing some of the OOB, which is out of the box. Out of the box is something termed as a standard feature. So you can use out of the box features, or you can create your custom enhancement and create an app which is following based on the organization's business processes. So this is something we will create, and even in today's class, I'll give you an idea how you can create one. All right, so this is a very high level about the application. So again, if you want to access any application, you go to this rubric, you can either search it or you can view all, and you can able to see the list of all the applications you have at the moment. Some of them, as I said, will be, all of these are custom, and all of these are standard, I'm sorry. And then this one is custom test app, which I just created just to show you. So the difference between all of them are actually standard application. And the test tab, which I just created and will create a new one along with you guys, is basically a custom application. So that's where the standard and custom concept start merging into our actual view. Now, if you want to view it, let me go to a little bit, let me go to a sales cloud. And again, if you want to go to the sales cloud or sales app, you can just search or go to there, and it will open something like this. Okay, so now let me give you a little bit more in depth of what Salesforce is, and then we can go back into kind of an understanding in the real life scenario what it is. So right now, this sales is basically your cloud or application name, home, opportunities, lead, task, fees, account. These are all called tabs. Okay, like regular tabs. If I go to my like a regular browser, you see all of these are tabs. They are also termed as tabs. So in Salesforce also, all of these are terms as tabs. So these are different tabs which are available. What exactly they are, I'm going to explain that in a moment. But if you want to go on any tab, just for the sake of it, you can just click anywhere on the tab, and it will basically take you inside the tab. So this is the lead recently viewed. If I want to go to files, I can just click on the tab and I can go to the content of the tab itself. If you click on this right button, which is like a drop down menu, so again, you have two options here, and that is the beauty of this lightning, that it is very interactive. So you can either click on it and you can get this view, or you can click on the drop down and you will see some of the options here. So you can actually go to the file which is already available there, right? So you can see that it's kind of a quick way of doing something. But if you want to just get the list of items, click on files and you can get the list of items. Right now we have only one item which is showing, but other than that it will start showing some recent records. Again, I have only one record, but in your case or in future, if I have multiple records, it will start showing up here, kind of a shortcut. You can just go to a particular record right there. Is there a question?
I do.
Mhm.
Okay, so I would like to share my screen and show you that I just see a home button. I don't see anything else.
That's fine. Are you on Sales Cloud?
Yes.
Is it like you go from here and then you go there?
Let me see. Um, can you repeat the process because I missed
So
it?
you
I'm
can just
sorry.
go to this rubric, go to View All, and then you
Okay,
can find this Sales and click on that.
let me see. Yeah.
You see this one, or you still see only Home?
No, I see that. I somehow got there, but the problem is I only have a home button on the top. I don't have opportunities, leads, task, and all that.
Okay. And did you create a like a fresh account right now?
Yes, I did, and I wasn't able to go through the developer, so I went through Salesforce login page.
Yeah,
So I
that's
can.
what I told you. That's not going to work because what happens is you end up signing up maybe a service cloud or something
Mm,
else. So you need to follow explicitly the links that I provided.
okay, because when I do that, it's telling me that I already have an account.
That's fine. You can use another email address and create another account.
Okay,
Okay, and then
thank
also
you.
make sure that you go to the exact same links that I provided because I knew that this will happen a lot. So again,
Uh-huh.
make sure, just to reiterate, first thing you need to go to developer.salesforce.com. If you go to the
Okay,
main Salesforce page, you ending up something which I already told you, a trial version. So there's a difference between a trial and developer sandbox. Developer
okay.
sandbox is something that we are using for, actually you can use it for life, and then you can, what we're going to use it in our uh, training, and you can also use it for trialing. The one that you sign up from the Salesforce main page is actual product, which is like you need to buy a license after a month. I think they gave you like a 1 month free license, and after that it will be they will charge obviously whatever the license cost is, right? So there's a difference between. That's why I'm saying that you need to focus very closely on the links that you are going to, because in Salesforce obviously it's a big ecosystem, so you will able to see a lot of different links very similar, but they might be, and even you are using the same type of login screen, because most of the login screen are same, so you may end up into another environment which is not the one that we are intending. So I think that exactly what happened to you. You may be signed up onto, let's say, a service or a sales cloud rather than a developer account.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So yeah,
Let
so
me,
let's try it again, and then if you still have issues, just let me know.
thank
All
you.
right. So once you do that, you can able to see these different tabs, and you can see different different applications. So we did talk about applications at different tabs. Also, I did talk about the view. So very quickly, just take that off of my plate. So I talked about Lightning and Classic. So this is the toggle. So if you go to your name, so this is basically your name or name profile. So if you click on that, you will see different options. So for example, if you need to log out, let's say if you want to log out and you have multiple accounts, you can log out to make sure you are actually logged out. There's a setting we'll talk about in future. There's some different view way, but basically what I'm going to show you is how to switch to the older version of the interface, which is Classic. If you just click on that, you will see a little bit more boring and more subtle view, which was there for a really long time. And this is basically how it looks. So if you go over here, you can still go to a lot of these things. The view is very different than what we used to. So Sales Cloud, if I want to go from this view, this is how you can go to Sales Cloud, which is absolutely different view and different interface. And it's not as interactive as the other one. Here, you don't have those quick options. It's kind of a little bit more different look and feel. However, if you are done with that, or if you review it, you can easily switch it back to your Lightning experience. There's a button right on top of it. You can just click on that and you're back to your Lightning page. So just to give you an idea that this is the toggle between the Lightning and Classic. Again, as I said, Classic is about to expire, so we don't need to go a lot of in detail, but you just need to know what is the difference between the Classic and the Lightning. And in case if there is any distinct feature come along the way, I will also kind of point that out. But usually all of the features are nicely migrated to Lightning. So basically all the features are now available. If there is any difference, I'll definitely point out along the way. So that is just a quick about interface. I also tell about the standard and custom apps. And this is how you can access. Again, for now, if you just want to view, you can just go to your sales app, which is nothing but actually a sales cloud. And you can see something like opportunities, leads, tasks, files. And if you remember what I talked about, the business process, so you can see these tabs are kind of around the sales process. So opportunities is something like you are going after as a business. Lead is something that you start with. So for example, if somebody is visiting your website, you're selling, let's say, laptops, that is your potential lead. Now that person sent you a request and wanted to know, okay, how much is your laptop is that, then you can convert that lead into a contact, because now you have the information of that person, an email address, maybe phone number, name, and then you can create a record in the contact. You can also assign him an account. So account is nothing but, for example, if he belongs to a particular company, like for example, if he's coming from ABC company or XYZ company, you can assign it. If he's actually independent person, the contact and account can be same. So that is called personal account, meaning that you can just name the name of the person as an account. But if he actually, because in many businesses, actually, you have different, you work with different businesses, and then you have people who work. So for example, company XYZ have 5 people that you work with. So account will be the same XYZ, but then you have 5 different contacts. So if I go to account and if I want to see how many people are working there, I can able to, for example, pick up an account and I can able to see how many contacts are there. So in this case, I have only one contact. This is the guy. But if I have, let's say 5, 10, 15, 20 contacts on this company that are engaged with our organization, I can see all of them right there. Again, you don't need to worry about it. We'll go through all of them in detail, just giving you a very high level view. What are we expecting? So you can have an account. Account is something like the company name that you're working, your client is working, right? And then this is the name of the client and other details. And then the opportunity, meaning, let's say if that person is interested in buying a laptop, that is an opportunity. So how the opportunity looks like is something like here. For example, here there's opportunity. What is the opportunity? The opportunity is with the account, this name, Burlington Textiles. If you want to see some details, we can go to this tab. Again, don't worry about how I'm maneuvering. You will able to get all of this very soon. But here is the name of the opportunity. They want to have a weaving plant generator. Then you put down whatever the amount of that opportunity, meaning let's say if you're buying a laptop, let's say it's $1,000 laptop, expected revenue is $1,000 for us. What is the expected close date? And then Salesforce created a very nice flow of the business. So for example, usually you start with something called prospecting. Prospecting means you are just talking to the lead. Then you go there, you qualify if he's really interested, even do he even have a money? Do he have a need? Or he's just kind of browsing around, so you kind of qualify. Then you do some analysis, making sure this laptop is the right one he's looking for. Then you see if everything goes well. Is it the value? Are we, let's say, even looking for $100 discount? Is it still value proposition for you? Let's talk to the decision maker who is going to buy the laptop. Maybe the child is browsing and the father is the one who's going to make the decision. So you need to make sure again, you don't need to worry about all that. This is when people are actually working, but just to give you an idea that these are the different steps. And finally, that opportunity can be closed won or closed lost. So either you know that person buy your product or say, no, I don't like the product, I'm going to move on. So you close that. So you have different opportunities. Again, you don't need to worry about that right now, but these are different tabs which are available, and these tabs are actually different, very specific information. So if you just happen to click on any of those and nothing comes up, there's this bar which is like recently viewed. So obviously when you are looking for the very first time, you have not viewed anything, so that's why it comes blank. So if you want to see something which is in the system, you can just click on this drop down bar and say all open leads or something like that, which will give you the view of any records which are already available in the system. So again, I have not created any records. These are all created in the system as a sample record. So this is something available as a sample just to give you an idea how the system basically looks like. Okay. Now again, I don't need to ask you if you get it or not, because if you get it, good. If you don't get it, no worry about it. I'm just giving an overview. Very quickly, I want to jump into a basic concept of database, and then we can take it from there, and then we'll come back to the same view and then try to understand, okay, how are these different, what are these basically these different tabs or leads? What is this? I mean, I understand this is a lead, this is an account, this is a contact, but really how all of these are kind of coming along and forming this application called sales. So let's get a quick understanding of that. So usually I'll take a mid break somewhere. So maybe I'll try to throw this concept and then we'll take a quick 10 minutes break. So just hang on with me like another 15 more minutes, and then we'll take a break before we come back and elaborate on these items. So what I'm doing is right now just to giving you an idea about a database, right? If you already know, good, then it could be something easy for you. But if you haven't understood the concept of database, here it is. So database, you can think of it as a simple Excel sheet, right? So this Excel sheet right now, the name of the Excel sheet is basically book one. Instead of that, I want to call this as I want to call it as, let's say I want to call it as test app, okay? Doesn't matter. Okay, and now this whole sheet, I'm basically calling it test app, and this is my application. So think of this test app is something that I showed you over here. If you go to apps and look up over here, so see service, marketing, content. So all of these or test apps is basically in terms of Excel is nothing but a one complete Excel sheet. Okay, so just to kind of relating that back and forth with Salesforce will kind of give you an idea that what are we talking about, right? And how to relate that in a real life Salesforce. So basically all we did is we are saying that this whole complete Excel sheet is one application, and we're going to call this as a test application or test app. The second thing you notice is there are multiple sheets. So I have a sheet one, I have a sheet two, I have a sheet three. What I'm going to do is the first sheet, I'm going to rename it as lead. The second one, I'm going to rename it as account. And third one, I'm going to rename it as content or contact. Okay. And this one also, even if you want to call it instead of test app, I'm going to call it sales app just to make it more relevant to what we are going through, right? So you created an application right now, just for understanding purposes, is just a simple Excel sheet. The complete Excel sheet is sales application or sales app. We have different tabs. Each tab is named differently. So the first one, we will collect all the information about leads. The second one will get all the information about accounts. The third one will get all the information about contacts. So let's start with the first one, right? In the first one, when we say leads, basically it's like people who are interested in your services, right? So what would be the first thing we normally need? And again, it's just an example. It could be anything. You can have your own example. That's fine. I'm just throwing out there. It's not have to be what I'm giving here. It could be anything that you can think of based upon your business process. So let's say in a lead, I just need to know the name of that person. I also need to know their, let's say, location. Like, you know, I'm just kind of curious where they're located in US. I also need to know their sex, if they're male or female. I need to know their date of birth. And I also need to know, let's say, their, let's say these 4 things I need to know. Then account is, for example, this is the account where this person actually works, right? So here I probably need the account name, which is the name of the organization he's working for. Okay, and then I can say account probably address. I can probably get some more information like number of employees, and so on and so forth, right? So let's say just keep it here. And then I'm just going to delete the contact for now, just to keep it simple. So let's say these two fields we have created. One, we are getting some information about the person. I had an email and phone here as well. So we are getting some information about the lead, and we are getting some information about the account. So let's say on this one, we start adding an account. So let's say the name of the person is Ali, his location is VA, he's a male, his date of birth is whatever, his email address is this, and his phone number is this. Okay, and then this is the first column completed. I move to the next column, and here, let's say he worked for an ABC company. The account address is this, and then the number of employees are 100. Okay, so this information I populated in there, and this is exactly what Salesforce is giving you. Okay, now if I want to correlate that with the Salesforce, first thing we notice that we have a sales app. So if I going back to the Salesforce, I can click on sales app, and it will open up this view for me, right? In that view, if I go back to my Excel sheet, I have something like a tab called leads. I go to here and I have a tab called leads. If I click on that, I can able to see. And if I go to all open leads, as I said, by default, I don't have open anything recently. So by default, it always goes to recently viewed leads, right? So all you need to do is just to go to all open leads. It will give you the complete list of leads. So if you see here, it is showing me, excuse me, a list of list of all the leads that I have in the system. Same thing, if I go back to my Excel sheet, I have a list of records. So I'm just going to replicate it for now, just so that you can get the visual sense. So this is also a list of different customers. They are not the same. Obviously, I'm just copying it, but just imagine they are different leads here. So I have also a number of leads. If I go back here, I can go to another tab, and I click over here, it will give me accounts. And again, I can go to view all accounts. And again, I can get a list of all the accounts that I have in the system. Compared to here as well, in accounts, if I go, I get all the list of the accounts that I have there. So basically, it's a replica of the system that we are building here, which is very close to an Excel sheet. So on a very basic level, and actually when we go to in field and talking to different companies, to be very precise, many of them have actually Excel sheets used for a really long time as their CRM system. So they have a very very detailed, with hundreds and thousands of records in an Excel sheet, where they're collecting the data, where they're collecting the information. They can have the information about the product that they're selling. All of that information is embedded into the Salesforce. And what we do is basically we convert that information into Salesforce, and then basically we add all that data into the Salesforce and start using Salesforce instead of Excel sheets moving forward. So this is called the digital transformation to the real sense, where a company could be using any system. One could be Access database, an Excel database, or some other custom platform where they can collect the data. It could be a WordPress database where they can export the CSV files and save them as their backup database for future if something goes wrong with the website. And then they can use that as a source of truth from where they get the understanding of how many products they're selling, how many customers they have, what are their names, addresses, email address. And if they, let's say, for example, need to run a marketing campaign, they can use that data, the email addresses, and they use either some tool to send a mass emails or contact to emails individually, whatever they want. So this data is very, very critical to every business. Okay, coming back to here is basically all these tabs. like that we are creating, in Salesforce terminologies, we call them objects. Okay. So keep in mind the app that we created, we call them apps. So sales in an app. So all of these that you have seen on the top level here, all apps, these are all apps. So the first high level thing is apps. The second level thing is basically objects. So all of these are, although they are tabs, but in reality, you use objects as tabs. So I'll explain the difference between that. But for now, just understand they are tab plus object. Okay. So you can see that if I click on account, if I click on context, campaigns, all of them have this information, and these are basically called objects. Now let's see if I go into one of these objects. So if I go to my first record, and if I go to this view, again, I'll explain this view in future, but right now, just for simplicity, just click on details, and you start seeing some columns where I have the explicit information, like who is the owner of the lead, what is the name of the lead, what is the company of the lead, title, and they are pretty much similar to what I have here, the account name, address, what is the lead name, location, date of birth, email, phone. So you have that, company, title, lead source, industry, revenue. So these are called fields. Okay. So if I go back here, and basically this first line that I have here, these are called fields. And I'm just going to highlight that with a different color. So all of these are fields. And this whole thing which I'm creating, I'm going to create one more here. I'm just going to call these are example of objects, right? So this is at the bottom that you have different tabs. These tabs are nothing but objects. I'm going to color it at yellow as well, just to correlate. And then this is called app. So you basically go through 3 different levels. You started off with the full higher level, which is application. You moved into your object level, where you have object level, you have different objects. And within the object, when you drill down further, you have multiple fields. And finally, all of that, which is here, this is basically called your record or your data. Okay, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to merge them. So this is all your records, or you can call it your data, whatever is feasible. So basically, this is your record or data, and it will go on and on, right? So on a daily basis, you have a couple of customers coming in, signing up. You have this continuously adding on into the database. You just created the object one time. You just create the application one time. You create the objects one time, and you create the fields one time, and that's it. And then you walk away. Let's say you are the designer of the system. So you do all of these things one time. Everything looks good. Then you walk away. And then the teams who are working in the environment, let's say they have a sales team who are making calls. So let's say there are 5 people sitting on the phone in office, and they're making calls for their potential clients. So they can basically start adding the data. So you walk away, you are the admin, you build the system, or you are basically the IT team. So you build the system once, you provide the app, you provide the leads, you provide the object, you provide the fields, and then you basically walk away, and then they start using this system. You give them user ID, password to log in into the system, which is obviously this one, and they can start adding new leads. So for example, if I want to add a new lead, I can just go here to new, and then this form will come up, which is nothing but all the list of the fields that we talked about, and then we can start adding. So don't worry about it again. Right now, I'm just trying to explain you what is this main 3 items that we talked about, and how does that work. So basically, 3 main items as we discussed. One is your application. Then you have your objects. And in order to display objects, I'm just going to put it on the bracket. You need something called tab. So tab is nothing explicitly, is just basically if you want to show them on the interface, you create tab. But I'm keep saying it out loud because a lot of time you can able to create object, but you cannot able to see them on the interface, and you get worried, where does it go? So that's where you need something called tab. So it's just a way how you can show these objects into the interface. And then you have these fields. So you can have fields, field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how you start building your database from here. All right, so let me take a quick pause and open up the forum for any questions for so far what we have discussed, if you guys have any questions. Is everybody clear?
So I did go through the developer account and everything, and it's taking me to the same exact page.
Okay, what I would recommend right now, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't do that, because what you will be missing right now is more important than signing up for the account. Okay. What we can do is, after the class, I'll set maybe 5 extra minutes. I usually do not do any troubleshooting during the class because we have a lot of other people and I don't want to waste their time. But what I can do is, after the class, I'll wait another 5-10 extra minutes, and then I can discuss with you or anybody else if they have any issue. But right now, do not do that setup, because you will miss all the important items. And once you have the setup done, but then you probably miss the most important information that you should be concentrating on.
Okay.
So again, one more thing is, while understanding this, if you're following up fine, it's good, you can do that, I'm not going to stop you. But if you're stuck somewhere, don't worry about it. You don't need to troubleshoot right then and there, because as I said, these 3 hours are fully packed in terms of the content. And if we kind of deviate from there, then we will lose more important information, and all of these are come like step by step. And if I go tangent, then I might miss the information that I should be intended to provide. So anytime if you are doing it along with me and you're able to basically run with the same pace, it's good. If you stuck somewhere, just right then and there, just stop it. Maybe just start following up what we are doing, and then later on you can just follow up on that. But try not to use this as a troubleshooting session, because then we cannot able to cover the content that we're intending.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. So based on what we have discussed in terms of understanding, is there any question? Is everybody
No. So far so good.
Okay. Everybody clear what object is? Everybody clear what fields are? Okay.
Yes.
If that is clear to everybody, very good. What we will gonna discuss, we'll take a quick 10 minutes break. And then when we come back, we will do 2 things. One is we will go back, we will take a pause from here so that your brain can refresh a little bit with the break. And after that, once we come back, we will basically gonna discuss about different type of users that we have in Salesforce. So you can understand when I'm saying a user versus admin versus end users, what I'm basically referring to, right? So you're crystal clear. And just to keep in mind, there are different type of users in Salesforce, and that is something I'm going to explain. And after that, once we are very clear on that, we will basically go back and start building these 3 things in today's session, right? So that is our target for today. So let's take a quick break. So right now is 37. So we'll meet back at 47 and 3:50. So let's do 13 minutes breaks. Let's meet back at 10:50 and try to be on time. So we will go ahead and start at 10:50. So try to be on time. All right. I'll see you guys in 13 minutes. Okay. All right. So hopefully everybody's back. So what we're talking about is we'll take a quick detour and just quickly talk about users, and then we'll come back and start making some of the items that we just talked about. So in Salesforce, there are 3 main types of users. Okay. What are those 3 main types? Number 1 is somebody who is building the system. Somebody who's building the system or managing the system. So for example, let's say company ABC. They were using Excel sheets. They are ready to adopt a new cloud-based CRM system, Salesforce. They contacted us and say, hey, Khurram, we want to build a Salesforce system. We got the licenses and we want to hire you to build a system for us. I was like, okay, cool. Um, I'll join them as a Salesforce consultant. I'll say, okay, can I get my access? I'll probably get the admin access, which is the highest level of access a Salesforce can have. And think about Salesforce for a moment as, let's say, your office building. So office building, your office can be on the floor number third. Within those at the third floor, you have like 10 offices, and you have one of the office. So when they say you get the full system access, meaning that, let's say you get you need a full access, meaning you can able to get into the building anytime any day needed. So you need like a key fob or some sort of key that you can get into the office. So let's say the office is, obviously it's like a centralized office, a lot of people work there, a lot of different offices are there. So you need access to getting into the building. You need to get access to go to a specific floor. Let's say each elevator may have access, so you need to get the access to go to the third floor. Then you need to get an access to get inside your office. Then let's say there are 10 different rooms in the building, then you can able to get in every possible room, like full access anywhere you want to go. And even on your way back, you can lock some doors where other people, even they had access previously, but cannot able to get in back again. So for example, you go there, you go to the IT room, you go to the server room, and you said, you know what, this room, I should only have access because I'm the admin. You're going to lock this. And then even previously, if somebody else had that access, now they cannot get in there. So you are the guardian or a builder or basically a caretaker of the whole system. So the first type of user, I can call them as admins or a Salesforce consultants or the builder or the folks who actually build the system initially or maintain the system, either way. And they usually have like a full access. And I mean, think about admin as somebody, let's say if you join a new company, they're using Salesforce. So what will happen is your manager will request from the IT team, can you give this new person access to our Salesforce? And the admin will basically ask your first name, last name, and your company email that you just joined. Probably either IT have created that already, or they will create it for you. And they will basically based on your email address, they will create a new account in Salesforce for you. So that could be admin job on a day-to-day basis. And when we are building the system right now, when there's nothing existing, they could be more like a Salesforce consultant building the system. Again, they need to have full access. They can able to create anything, delete anything, till the system is fully done. So that is the admin. And the first account that you have created. So right now, if I go back and I told you the account that I've created, KLE, is basically the admin. Okay, so you need to now start differentiating between different users. So right now, we have the one that we use to create the account as a default. We go to the website and create the account and everything. So that account, the first one that you created, is your admin. And again, in my case, I put myself as the admin. Okay. Getting back to the next type of users is called Salesforce users, and they are actually company employees. So think about that example again that I just gave you for a building. Now let's say in your office there are 100 different employees that work and they need to use different rooms, and some of them are from marketing, sales, customer support, HR, whatever that is, right? So what you did is basically you first go into the office, you make sure everything looks good. Then you need to lock up the IT room, for example. Let's say you need to lock up the CEO room and COO room. And then everything else looks like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, they can go out in rest of the rooms. It looks fine, kitchen and everything else, all the other rooms looks fine. So you give them access, and then you give them something that they can get in. So for example, let's think about a key fob. They all get the key fob, but their key fob can allow them to get into the office, get into the floor, get into the main office, and then able to get, let's say, 7 different rooms. 3 rooms you lock up and only give access to yourself, and maybe company CEO and CTO. That's it. The three people have access to that, and everybody else can go to those 7 rooms, but not these 3 rooms, right? So those everybody else, and even those 2 other people apart from you, even the CEO, CTO, they all are considered as Salesforce users. Anytime when I'm saying Salesforce users, meaning they are using a license. And it means that every person who is using a license, meaning they are actually a paid person. So if you have 10 people, you need to buy 10 licenses from Salesforce, and you pay per user, per license, per month. And if you have 100 users, including the admin, then you need 100 licenses, 99 for your users, 1 for your admin. I mean, just in case. So these are all paid accounts, but these Salesforce users would not able to do a lot of things that we will be doing throughout this course. So whatever we will do in terms of making changes, in terms of adding, deleting, think about this guy, KLE, as an admin, and he's kind of building or updating the system. We also want to see as we are building a system is if we build a system, how does it look like to the rest of the users, right? You need to see from their perspective as well. So it's like you build something and then you can see it yourself, but you need your customers or you need the people who are going to use them also experience if everything looks fine to them. So how did you do that? Because if you go back and look it up, you already have an access. I mean, you did that. You cannot really see the difference. So what you need is also you need somebody or access to a user who you can sign up as a user, and you can able to experience the changes that you are making as an admin. Okay, so just reiterating again, the main user that you have created is your admin. Then we need another type of user, which is actually Salesforce users. They are end user, they are Salesforce paid users. Every person need a paid license to in order to operate. In our case, the the dev version that we have signed up, we can create one more user, and that user will be your, you can consider that one of the Salesforce user. Okay, so Salesforce, when you sign up, actually gives you 2 licenses. Think about that. So let's say if each of that license costs $25 per month, you have $50 worth of 2 licenses every month, unlimited for free for now, right? So one account we already used and create. I'll show you how you can create the other user account. But first, understand what is that user. So that user is more like a person who will be using Salesforce on a day-to-day basis. Another example, just to so that you can relate it to the real world, is, for example, let's say I'm working for a bank, okay, and I'm hired as a Salesforce admin for the bank. I'm in their IT department. So basically, I will be behaving as an admin. I will, let's say, set up an account for a new employee who just hired yesterday, all right, and send them the credentials via their email. Now that user who is a new hire is basically use those credentials and log in into the Salesforce as a Salesforce user. And they are only there in order to basically add all these records, right? So this is their day-to-day job. They will be basically adding the information, but these fields, these objects, and this app is all created by me as an admin. So I created the app, I created the objects, I created the fields, and then the regular Salesforce user, basically they just come in and start adding the records. And how they do that is something simple. They come up to a lead. Let's say if they got a new lead, they come here and say new, and they start adding the information here. Basically like this, and it is, they can select whatever need to be selected, and they can say save. Let's add company name. Okay, and here you go. You got this I just created Dash company. So you got a new lead here, this one, which is created, and this is considered as what? This is called data or records. So your end users or your Salesforce users will be now tasked to start adding records. Basically, they will start adding the records or data. Now, again, if they have any problem, for example, they are not able to create a new record, or if they don't see something, if they're stuck somewhere, then they're going to open a case for you as an IT admin and say, hey, I'm not able to create a new record, or I cannot see this, cannot do this, cannot do that. And then you will basically go in the system as a KLE or an admin and then basically fix the issue or try to troubleshoot and fix the thing. So you will be acting on two roles during this going forward till when you are understanding Salesforce. So one is your first role is as an admin, where you are the one who is creating and managing the system. And the other role you will be creating, and I'll show you in a moment that how you can create that. And the other role you will be playing as a Salesforce user, where you will be logging in as you log in as a Salesforce, exactly same way you logging in as with the different credentials as a Salesforce user, and then try to observe and see what can you do and how the system basically looks to as a user. All right, so these two are the main two types of user that we will be working with, and we have a one spare license. So we have two licenses, one we will use for admin, one we will use for users, and we should be good to go. Now there is a third type of users which if you get it, that's fine. If you don't get it, that's fine too. For now, in future you will understand. But for example, there will be another type of users. They are called end users or customers, and who they are. So I just gave you an example of a bank. So in the bank, we already talked about the IT guy, which is me. I'm building the system, managing the system. The second layer of users were Salesforce user, who were all the folks working for the bank, and they are talking to their customers. Now there could be third type of users, and they're called customers and end users, who are all the people who have accounts in that particular bank. And they can also get a user ID and password, and they can log in into their personal bank account and able to see some information. They can make some actions, they can do, get some updates, and basically they can use that account to do management of their own account. And they are called third type of users, called customers or end users. Again, as an admin, you can control everything. As a Salesforce users, they cannot control these ones. These two users are controlled by admin. These are Salesforce users who are actually adding the records, managing all the records, managing the clients. These are actual clients in some cases where, I mean, if you have a business case, like let's say if you're running a pharmacy, if you're running a bank, if you're running an e-commerce, so you have actually all three kinds of customers. You have admins, then you have Salesforce users who are part of the company, and then you have the final end clients who are there. So we cannot really able to view this right now, but they are kind of similar to what you can experience with this. But this one is just more for the knowledge purpose right now. If you have that question comes up that, oh, I use my Amazon account, so which kind of user I am? So you will be, in that case, an end user. If you work for Amazon and you are not an IT guy, then you are most probably a Salesforce user. And then if you work for Amazon and you are Salesforce admin, then you are the first kind of user, which is admin user. Okay. And again, as I said, all three of them require licenses. Even the third one, even as a customer, Salesforce, if they get into a system where you are building and you're logging as an Amazon end user or a customer, actually at the end of the day, Amazon is paying for that. It's not free. Okay, so a company is paying for all three different type of licenses. Let's say you have 100 people in the company, so you bought 100 licenses. Then let's say on an average every month you have, let's say 100,000 users or customers that log in into the portal. Again, their licenses cost is different, as they treat them on a different level, but again, they are not free. They are paid licenses based upon number of users or number of interactions. There are different modules that are available, but for this course purposes, we will not go into much detail for the third type of user, because this comes under on a very specific type, which is called communities, which is not part of the admin portal. But I'll time to time give you some overviews that what can or cannot do as a customer user. Usually they can only access their own account, able to do some functions on their own account. Let's say if you are using Amazon, you can still able to add, delete, items from your card. You can make a payment. You can request for refund, things of that sort, or open a case, write a review. Same thing with your bank account, and so on and so forth, right? So these are three different type of users. Again, for the simplicity, we'll be concentrating on two main types of users, which is admin and a Salesforce user. Any question between these two terminologies, or actually these three terminologies? Is everybody clear?
Yes, I have a question here.
Sure, go ahead.
So, like you say, so the admin is the main controller,
Mm-hmm.
and then the others, like a sales consultant or Salesforce user, or any problems coming. Like I'm a Salesforce company working as a user, working as an employee, and I getting a problem. So where I'm going to contact my manager or going to contact a admin directly?
Or usually what happen is most of the companies has this IT email address,
Yeah.
and you can just say, hey, let's say in my company it's called IT support underscore something @com. It's like a group of IT people. Let's say if in my company I have about 5 to 8 IT folks, including manager and other people. You can just type it into IT support, and you can say, hey, I'm not able to log into my Salesforce account today, and boom, you send the email. So based on the process how they work, one of the Salesforce admin can take that ticket, assign to himself, work on it, resolve the issue, and send you an email saying that, hey, your issue is resolved, please go ahead and sign back in, and you should be good to go.
It's like and third one, the customer end user. Just like I work at company, I have a Salesforce timesheet and a Salesforce other stuff like I put there. So I got the problems. I have IT department contact, just like you said to me.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yep.
End users, like a customer end user, like you say the Bank of America employee, so working the data records, getting problems. They can't contact if the IT department not contact you, like you had to emergency to work and.
No, they can. So usually, if you go to any website like Amazon or bank, there is a link where you can say, if you have any issues, please email on this email address, right? So that email is usually going straight to the technical team, and then the technical team will pick up the ticket and then basically resolve. They may have different layers. That's possible, but let's imagine you have just one technical team. So they basically throw out that email address. And then if even as an end user, is the same process. Either you are a Salesforce user or end user. If you have issues, you cannot do anything. You can just send an email defining whatever issue you have, received by admin, and then he will work, resolve the issue, and get back to you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any question? Okay. If not, then quickly jump into where can I add that new user, which is my Salesforce user. We will call that user, just for simplicity, a test user. Okay, so in that way, I can have my KLE, which is my admin, and then I can create another user as a test user. Okay, so before I go there, if you view this interface, there is something like you already talked about the name on it. So you can go to the name, you can see few things which we kind of briefly talked about. Then you have a second tab for notification. Again, we'll talk more about it when we go there. The third one here is a setup. So this is basically, as an admin, your go-to tab. You will be basically spending most of your time in this tab. So as soon as you click on this, it will give you two options: setup or service setup. So you just go to setup, and it will open up a separate tab for you. So basically, this is your hangout place as an admin. This is your place where you will find yourself like 80% of the time. So everything will be done from here. Everything will be controlled from here. And this is the place where other users who are not admins do not have full access. So they can maybe able to go here, but as soon as they try to use something, the error will come up. You don't have sufficient privileges to access the system or something. In some cases, they cannot even see this tab. Right now, your test user will see this, maybe go to the next stage, but then we will block him in order to do anything with the system, right? But basically, as an admin, this will be your hangout place. You will be here most of the time. This is the place from where you can make changes, add, remove, create, whatever. So basically, this is the tab which is like your setup tab, is basically your main bookmark where you will be basically fully powerful. You will be using your creativity, using your technical skills, your business skills, and creating some cool solutions along the way. So once we are here in the setup, and again, I'm gonna keep repeating for some time so that you can get a hang of it. But every time we are trying to access something from system, we need to go to setup. If we need to view how the records are appearing or how the interface looks like, we can go back to our main view from rubric and go to sales or service or wherever, and then see the object. This is kind of an output view, right? So this is like a sales console. We need to, let's say, want to go back to sales cloud. We can click on sales cloud, and then let's say we want to see some object, we want to see some records. So you go back to your regular view. Right now you are in a mode of more like a mechanic view where you have your tools ready, you're ready. Now you open up the bonnet and let's do some work. That's where you click on setup and go to your setup, which is you open up the bonnet basically. Now you're ready to do some stuff, and let's see what you can do on your day one, right? So you open up the, now you understand what you're doing. You are in the shop, you understand the shop, you know your way in and out, you have the keys, you get the basic intro so far. Now we are actually under the hood as we speak, and we open up using the setup. And the first thing we're gonna do is basically you will go to this quick find. I'm gonna introduce this in a little bit, but this home tab is where you go in and you start typing stuff. So as soon as you start typing stuff, this will be start filtering out. So if I just remove everything, everything is right there. If you are visiting for the first time, when I was there, I was kind of curious. So I just start going in there, just clicking out and see, okay, what I'm looking at, what is this stuff? So feel free to go ahead and start poking into different, views and see what is this and what is going on. Curiosity is a blessing. So I would say, feel free. You won't delete anything. You don't do any damage. So even if you do that, doesn't matter. We can fix it, or we can always, go back and try to find out what you have done, and you cannot really damage anything. So you're feel free to go ahead and review what you have here. But over the period of next 6 weeks, we will pretty much go through many of those, and you can get a better understanding of what we're talking about. So first thing we want to do here is we want to go to users. So either I can type in users for a quick way, or just to show you where it is basically is right here under administration, right? But you don't need to remember anything. All you need to do is you just type what you're looking for. It will start filtering out for you. You need to go to users tab. You click on that, and basically it will open up a user tab right here on your right hand side. Okay, so let's quickly understand what we are looking at it right now. So very quick, we have this KLE. You know that this is the main admin user. This is our main username. This is the alias. This is the login time. This is an active user. And if you see profile, I'm a system admin. We will talk about admin profiles and profiles in journal about, I believe, third or fourth session. But by that time, till that time, just keep in mind that you are admin using the profile system admin. Then you have couple of test, a couple of users which you may use in future, but not at the moment, which is like a chatter expert. Don't worry about this for now. Integration user is basically Salesforce integrate with a lot of other systems. That's where we use this user right now. Don't worry about it. Security, again, same thing. We use with a lot of other system to secure the system, but again, you don't need it right now. So you pretty much forget about these three. This one you should not have at the moment. So you will have these 4 of these, right? This one, again, I just created this morning just to test it out if it works well. I created a new email and I call this I'm a user 99 at Gmail, and same email I created, so I can use that. So now let's say you don't have this one. So what you will do, you click on this new user bar. Make sure before you start that you need to have another email address, and that's a valid working email address. Again, if you do not have access to that email address and you create an arbitrary email, you cannot able to use this user, and you may need to delete and recreate another user again. So again, a second user, a second email address, a working email address that we need. So let's say the first name, just for, again, as I said, if you want to follow the same thing, you can give whatever you want, but I'm just gonna call it test user. So anytime I see it, I don't need to worry about, because usually if I give like a name like Sarah and KLE, then I sometimes, my mind doesn't work as fast as like, is Sarah is admin or Ali is admin? So just to avoid that confusion at all, I just call this second user a test user, so that, I just remember that. Email, as I said, it needs to be a valid email, and you cannot use the same email that you already use as an admin user. So make sure this is a valid email address, working email address, you have access to this email. Nickname, whatever you want. Some of these fields are up to you. You can give whatever you want. Email, make sure is there. Username, again, if you want to follow the best practice, use the same email as a username, so you don't need to forget about it. Anything which is red, you need to provide. Anything which is not red, it's up to you. You want to give it, fine. No, you can skip it. So these 4 things are critical: first name, last name, email, username, and nickname. Once we have those, we go to the next line. Here we have a role. Here for now, you can skip that role. We don't need to assign it for now. We don't need to understand it for now. Right now, just for a basic assignment purposes, we will assign a marketing team. Okay, why we choose that, what is this role for, that we will discuss in our future sessions once we get to that specific feature. But for now, just consider role as your role in the team. So this guy that we're adding, he works in a marketing team. Let's say a marketing associate, his name is test user. Again, you can give a more human name if it doesn't bother, but I mean, just for our sake, we give it this. This guy works in a marketing team. What type of license does it got? So right now, I have already used that license in my other thing. Let me see if I can open that actual user so you don't get confused. Okay, so here you will see a marketing team, and then what I did is basically you need to choose this license called Salesforce. Okay, there would be some other things like Salesforce platform or work.com. All of these are some other type of license, and they are not fully provide you what we are looking for. So the only other license that you have is called Salesforce. So you need to choose that. And as soon as you choose that, create a second user. After that, if I go back, I don't see this because we have only 2 licenses. One we use with the admin, second we use it for our second user. In terms of profile, again, you don't need to worry about it right now, but as a use case, you can choose as marketing user profile as a test purposes for now. So you choose marketing team, marketing user, Salesforce license, active. I think everything else which is checked, remain checked. Some other information is there. If you are working in some other uh, um, time zone, change the time zone accordingly. I believe everybody can here is English speaking. Locale is, I can explain something later, but everything else is just basic. Keep it whatever it is, or don't worry about it. So these fields are more critical at the moment. Active is already checked by default. And as soon as you click save, it will create a new user for you. However, same thing will happen. You will receive an email. I can show you the second email address that I used here. It was a Yahoo address, and you will receive something like this. So here it says, finish resetting your password. And then you can basically go to this link, set up your password, and you're good to go. Once you log in for the first time, or if you change a browser on the same email, that's why we need to have the working email, you will get a code. So Salesforce is a very secure environment. Anytime you switch a browser, or you switch to a new laptop, or you switch anything which is not already recognized by the system, it will ask you to get the verification code from the email which is attached to that account. So again, if you lose the link for that account, again, you cannot able to provide the code, and hence you cannot able to log in into your system. So if you completely lose the access to the email, even I cannot do anything other than, as an admin, other than go back and change your email. So make sure you will use two proper emails, you have access to that, you have their passwords, and able to create the second user. So this will allow you to create a second user, and that will look like something like here. So I call it test user. This is their alias, email address, and marketing user as a profile, role as a marketing team, and I'm good to go. Now I can do the same thing. I can go to login.salesforce.com. And before you do that, because we will be working in some cases, we will be making some changes, and I want to see from the user perspective how it looks. So the best way to do that, if you have two separate browsers on your machine. So for example, in my case, I have Chrome browser, which is right here, where I have already logged in my main user, which is KLE, my admin. You can use another browser. It could be any other browser like, like Safari or Firefox, or what is the other one? Microsoft one, whatever other, IE or anything else, or Edge or whatever. Yeah, IE, they already expired, so Edge. So any other browser that you have, just log in your next user from there, your test user from there. And basically I'm logging in as a test user over here, save my password so I don't need to go back again and again. And here you go. Here I logged in as a test user. So if I go here, you can see the name is showing test user. And I also kind of remember, because on Safari, I put my test user, and on my Chrome, I put my admin. So basically you are working, like, as I told you before, you will be playing two roles. One is as an admin and one is as a Salesforce user. And I'm just gonna start calling it just a user, just to save some words here. So you are either behaving as a user or an admin. So I logged in my admin at my Chrome browser, so I can do whatever I need to do. And when I need to go back and test it out so that I can see how does it look like, I can go to my Safari browser in my case, it could be other browser in your case, and you can able to see how it basically look like. So any questions so far? I know you haven't done it, so that's fine, but from a high level understanding point of view, is there any question, anything that comes to your mind that I can answer? Okay, I'll take silence as yes, no questions. All right, very good. So now that we understand that we have an admin user and we have a test user, we will go back again to our admin user and start making some of the apps and applications that we just talked about. So we just covered our user, test user. Now we are at a point where we will be start creating some nice apps, objects, and fields in our system. So first thing, you can go in a different settings as well. So what it means, like if you go here, where is that? Okay, so we will be basically creating an application. That's number one. You will be creating some objects, and then you will creating some tabs. I'm just basically doing some colors so that you can remember the different steps. And then you will be creating some objects. So these four things we will be creating. The sequence can vary. So basically you can create object first, and then you can create tab, and then you can create field, and then you can go back and create the application. And then you can, if you're creating more objects, then you can add here for the first time. Next time you already have an application, so you can actually able to create more objects and add those objects into application. So it doesn't matter, either you can create objects first and add to the application, or you can create application first and add the object into application. So we will probably try to do both of them, so in that way you can understand. So for now, I think which we cannot do in future is to create the application first and then add object. Later on, we can create a new object and then we can add into the application. So you can understand both of them. I mean, you can do both ways. Only first time when you're creating the application, you cannot you don't have any object already there. In future, you will have other objects and you will just adding them into the existing application. So we will kind of do both of them. So right now, first thing first, we said, okay, we need to create an application. Okay, so that's where this cheat sheet will help. You can call it cheat sheet, or you can call it like a notes, or whatever you want to call it. So what we are doing here is basically we are creating a new application. I'm going to use my company name here. You can use your own company, or you can use ABC, or you can use the same one that I'm using. I'm going to call it Unboxx Properties. That is my application name. So let's just stick to that. Let's quickly create an application, and you can you can appreciate how easy is the stuff. So I'm going to start from scratch again. I'm on my first page. You know the drill. You know how you can go under the hood. You can go to setup, and this page will load up. So this is your under the hood page, just for the remembrance purposes. Now what I need to do first is I need to create, make sure I have this handy. So I need to create application. So what I'm gonna do is I go to home, go to app manager, right? So here, I'm here at my setup page, and setup page is easily recognized because it has only two tabs, home and object manager. So first thing I need here, sorry. Okay. So first thing I need here is go to home, which I'm already here. So I just need to go to app manager. So go to app manager, start typing in app, and you will quickly see app manager under apps. So click on that, and it will open up the app manager in this wider window. Okay. Now you can able to see all these apps which are here, which you can able to see from the rubric as well. But like remember, sales, CMS, service, all of them are here. Now we are about to create a new one. So there are two types of apps that you can create. One is Lightning app and one is connected app. Lightning app is all of these apps are here. Connected app is more like when you are basically connecting to a different application. Again, in our case, obviously, we just want to look for a generic app. So you can click on new Lightning app, and it will open up this nice, we call it modal, more in like technical terminologies, or more like a layman language of a UI UX person. So it's more like a pop-up, you can call it. You can call it modal. It's like a different step modal. So if you see here, you have the first step, you have a second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step. So it's a very nice thing, and this is one of the items which were not available in the custom, not available in the standard view, like the previous view. Now the Lightning has enabled this nice modals to be created, and even we can create one at the end of the pretty much on the fifth or sixth session. We will actually create one of these apps on our own as well. So very cool stuff coming up. So here, without
excuse me, can you repeat the process? I am actually totally lost here.
Okay, so no problem. All we did is basically, let's start from the scratch. You just remember that how to go to setup, right? So that is something that we'll be doing again and again. Then you go to quick find and you start typing in app and start looking for app manager. Okay, once you click on app manager on this left hand bar, this will open up on your right hand side. This is your actually working window. This is your selection window. This is your working window. Are you good?
Just give me 1 second.
Sure. So just type in app. It will basically highlight some of the ones which have app. Look for app manager and just click on it.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Okay, very good. So if you click on it, this will open up. This is load up your page over here. There are two of them. We just basically go back to new Lightning app and click on it, and it will open up this modal for us. Here, very quickly, we can just, these are just the field. You can do that yourself too. Unboxx, whatever you want to call it, Unboxx, properties, whatever name you want to give. Okay, we're going to call it Unboxx properties. Developer name Unboxx. Description, you can put some description around it. Again, I'm going to skip anything which is you can understand yourself. Here you can actually have your own image, also your own image, meaning your company logo or something like that. So I have a logo. I can see if I can find it. Flyer, learning, yeah, whatever. So I pick up a logo, so I can see that here as well. You can choose some colors. Again, all of these are like fancy stuff. You can do it. Other than that, this is how it's gonna look like. If you are good with that, let's go to the next step. The next step here, it says new Lightning app options. So it is giving you a couple of options like navigation style, forms, setup experience. So all of these things are nice to have. We don't need to worry about them right now, but these are more like, okay, you want to see this like this way or that way, or some, you know, different options. Again, whatever is selected by default, we can go with that. You can just click next. The next one is showing us utility items for desktop only version. Again, this is something that you can skip for now, but just to give you an idea of what it is, in future, you can actually create different like a utilities, like if you want to call somebody, you can have your phone system integrated with Salesforce, and you can provide the call button in your page, whatever page you want. You can provide some email messaging options, or you can provide some clock, or there are different applications, we call them utility. You can add them into your app if you need to, but for now, again, we will skip that. This is all good to have. Now, this is a very critical one. So navigation items. Navigation items means that what are the different tabs do you need in this application? So just remember the tabs. I can probably go to Safari, and remember these are the different tabs. You have the first tab, home, opportunities, lead, under sales. So same thing here. This application is called Unboxx property. As you know, we haven't created any tab yet, right? So we don't have anything else, but we can use home because home is created as a default by Salesforce, called standard tab. So let's find out home. So either I can type home and this will come up, or I can just scroll down below and I can find home manually. CMS home, and where's the home? Maybe all the way down right here. And I can highlight that and basically use this button to push it on the right hand side. So when you push anything on the right hand side, that will be start appearing like this. So for example, let's say if it is a new one, so it should show Unboxx properties and it will show home. So that is all we are able to gather from here. So that's fine right now because we haven't created any other object. We just move home, which is a default tab from Salesforce, into our app from left to right. And then we can, that's all on this page. We move forward. Okay, this is again a very critical one. We need to use profile. So if you guys remember, we use two types of profiles so far. The first one is admin. So I can search for administrator, system administrator. I can select that. This will come up. I can highlight it and use this arrow button to move it on my right hand side. So I use system administrator on my right hand side, meaning this is selected. If I click on that, there are so many of them. Right now, I just selected system admin, meaning that anybody who has this profile, in a reality, only one person has this profile right now, which is Kelly, can able to see this app, meaning if I, let's say, do not use this person here and create the app, nobody can actually see this app, okay? But obviously I want to see this app, so I need to add the person who has this, this access, which is my admin. So I find the admin profile, I move it to my right hand side. Anything which is on my right hand side means it is selected. And I say save and finish. That's it. So congratulations, you created your first app, which is called Unboxx properties. Okay, let's go ahead and quickly view how does it look like. So I go to my rubric, I go to view all, I scroll a little bit, and voila, I can see my first app. Click on it and this app will come up. And just remember, what did we add so far? The only thing we add in terms of tab was home, and home is appearing. So we have our new application ready. We can call it app, and we have one default tab or an object which was available as a default. We add that. So now we have our first application created with the first tab. Okay, just keeping the time in check, I'm gonna go ahead and quickly jump on to creating the object. The second thing we want and we discuss here is we need to create an object. In my example, I give a reference to the two objects that we will be creating, and they are, so here the application name, which is Unboxx property, check, we are done. Second is we want to create two objects, Unboxx property and Unboxx offers. I'm gonna create Unboxx property with you today. so that once you go home, you can able to create the next one on your own. And within the Unboxx property, I need these many fields. So I'll quickly talk about, because again, as you said, when you add an object like leads, you also need to have certain fields that you want to add there. So I already defined what fields I'm looking for. So I'm looking for property name, obviously, what is the name of the property. And again, this quick app is for, let's say, a lot of real estate people can use it. And this Unboxx property, meaning this is an object which has the information for the property. So for example, I call it property name. Again, if you find it weird, you can skip it. But I mean, a lot of properties have names. Just to keep it simple, for example, you can call it White House, Rose House, and if you don't want that, you can remove that field and you can use something else. But just to give a little trick here, I just use this property name. Again, if you don't have a property, you can call this whatever the address, palace, right? Or whatever the main address is, you can put that, and that will be the property name, okay? Or you can just call them as a property number 1, 2, 3. So whatever you want to call it, you can do that. You can just start giving some names here. So we can say this is the property name. The first field, who is the owner? So owner of the house. What is the address of the property that is in the market for sale? What is the asking price? And what is the cell phone number? Now, each of these fields, if you think about, they are representing some sort of information. So for example, property name is a combination of alphabets and numbers. So for example, property name can be White House 22, right? So we are using alphabet and we are using number, and that in Salesforce called field type text. Owner name, for example, if I am the owner, my name is Khurram Ali. Most of the time there is no alphabet, but I could be Khurram Ali Junior or Khurram Ali Junior 2 or something. So it can be a combination of, again, in Salesforce, you don't need a separate number. Like you don't need an alphanumeric. In Salesforce, the field type is called text. Text is alphanumeric, okay, by default. Maybe I can put it here. Okay. So in Salesforce, in text is basically alphanumeric. So anywhere where you need to use a combination of alphabet and numbers, you can use text. Okay. There's no alphanumeric field type in Salesforce, so field type is text. Address, again, is a combination text. Asking price is a money. Money is currency. So the field type is currency. Cell phone, they have defined a specific field type called phone, and same thing for email. And I'll show you very quickly that what are the other field types available. But you just need to have this information handy. But the way we will start is, first, let's go ahead and create the object first. Okay. So let's do that, and then we'll come to the field. So first of all, in order to create the objects, again, I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm go back to my page. Again, how can I go under the hood? I can go to the setup. Setup page comes up. I know in setup, if I need to find something, I can do a quick find. However, because the object is used so much so that they have put this object manager on top for you. So you don't need to go and search every time. So instead of home, I can click object manager, and boom, I'm in the object manager. It looks and feel pretty much same as an app manager, if you see that. So it's pretty similar functionality. Now we need to create a new object. How can I create that? If you can go to create and say custom object. Custom object from spreadsheet, meaning in future, if you want to create like multiple objects together from a sheet, you can do that. Don't worry about it for now. Right now, we just click on create custom object. Okay. Now, first of all, we need a label. So label is something that show up on the screen. So if you remember here, this is leads is a label, task is a label, files is a label, accounts is a label. And you see most of them are plural: leads, tasks, files, accounts, contacts, right? So same thing over here. Our first object that we decided that we're gonna use was Unboxx property. So we can have that and we can use it here. Make sure I can remove that. And then you can have a plural as well, or you can use the same thing as a plural. It's totally up to you. If I want to use a plural, I can say Unboxx properties. You can use just Unboxx properties. It doesn't matter. Okay, so you can use a plural or same, doesn't matter. Then most of these things you can skip for now. You can turn on some of these features. Again, don't need to worry about right now too much. All you need to do is make sure these three fields are properly aligned. This is something called object name. Okay, and it is the same name as your label with underscore. So this underscore name is basically kind of a API name. I will discuss about that in future, but for now, just understand this is basically the computer will read this name and then users will see this name as a label. So this is label that we see it as a human, and the computer will basically work on this. The reason is computer cannot read spaces, so it has to be everything in space. There should be no space allowed. So the object name in terms of API language, it is with underscore, same name, just with underscore. Okay, so don't worry about that too much. And all you need to do is just go ahead and save this object. That's it. Once you save this object, I can go back again and click an object manager one more time. Again, I get the list. I just wanted to make sure that object is created or not. Again, there are some quick ways you can find out. Instead of scrolling, you can just start putting and look for Unboxx, and I can get my Unboxx property object manager filtered. Or if you want to view all of them just for the sake of it, you can also scroll down and you should be end up seeing that anyways somewhere right here, and I can click on that. Okay, so any questions so far how to create an object? All we did is just create an object. Okay, looks good. So far we create an object. Next item, before we do that, let's do something else. Let's go back to our our application and complete that first. So right now we have home tab. We don't have that tab object that we just created, right? That's what is missing. In order, but object is there. It's not like object is not there. Object we already created, but it's not appearing up on the screen. I just told you in the beginning, or if you remember me telling something about tab, right? So the object is there, but in order to show an object on the interface, we need to create a tab. Tab is nothing but basically you can think about as like a covering. You cover it up and then it will start showing up on the interface. So how to create tab? Again, in order to do any of those kind of things, where we need to go under the hood, setup, and this time we will be looking for a tab. And where is that information in my note sheet is let's build. We create an application here, we create the object here, and then we are creating the tab. So in case if you kind of did not follow up, don't worry about it. Everything will be noted down. You can able to go back, home tab, create new tab, right? So we go here, and then again here, what we need to find, we need to find a tab. So if you do tab, it comes up as tabs. Okay, go ahead and create tab. Again, this right-hand side will populate with the information. We need to create a new tab. There are a lot of things that you can create here. So first one is custom object tab. And that is what we need to create. There is another stuff called web tabs, visual force tab, lightning page tabs. Again, these things are more and more customized, but right now we don't need to worry about them. Basically, we said, okay, we need a custom object tab and we want a new one. Click on this. And here in the drop down list in the object, you will actually start getting automatically the object that you have created. All you need to do is just to select it and choose any color of your liking and go next. Here, the second step, it is asking you to add a profile. Okay. For now, we don't need to worry about profile. So we keep whatever is default. So it's basically default for everybody. And we said, that's fine. Go to the next one. In the next one, you see something called custom app. Okay. Here we can uncheck this, and you know that where we need to add this tab, we need to add this tab to the application that we created. So again, this is saying add to a custom app application, right? So where do we need to add this app? We need to add this app at Unboxx properties. So we can just check on Unboxx properties. Okay, that's all you need to do, and you can say save. All right, as soon as I do that, it may take like a minute or two. Sometime it take like a refresh in order to show up. So in case if it doesn't come up, don't worry. It might take a little bit longer to show up, maybe a couple of refreshes, and then it will show up, right? Because everything is going on a cloud, you know, you can expect some delay sometimes, right? So here you go. We just created this object called Unboxx properties. Then we create a tab for it, and then now we have Unboxx properties coming up as a object tab in here. Any questions so far? Okay. If not, then let's move forward. So if I right now go to Unboxx properties and I want to create a new record. So here right now it is showing me that I can add something called Unboxx property name. But what we need was a list of different fields that we have decided. So we need these items to add it as different fields, right? So basically we haven't added any fields yet. So let's go ahead and add these fields. So now this is the part, again, we go back to our setup and we go to object manager. And what object did we need to add fields to? The object name was Unboxx property. So we search for the object, click on the object. So now you are sitting in that object. This is all the information you see on the left hand side is related to this object. Which object? This object, Unboxx properties. Okay. And this is the first tab showing details. If I click on fields, this will start showing the details for this object. So this tab, the first one by default show up details. The second one is the field and relationship. That's where we can create new fields for this object called Unboxx properties or Unboxx property. So what we need here is basically we need to add the list of fields that we are required, right? And they are property name, owner name, address, asking price, cell phone number. Okay, no problem. What we can do is basically, just to give you a quick intro, these 4 fields are created by default for any object that you create. Okay, so 3 of them are pretty self-explanatory, no need a lot of information. So for example, created by, obviously anytime whoever create, most of them created by the admins anyways, but it will tell you who create, not, I mean, sorry, created by meaning when you create a record. So for example, if I create a record here, and let's say I'm a user, let's say sales person, and my name is Ali. So it will tell who created this record, not who created the object, but this record is created by who. So that is the field. It will tell who created the record, who modify the record, and who is the owner of the record. So these 3 fields are pretty much self-explanatory. They are basically managed by the system themselves, so that they can keep a record of who is playing with this record, right? The final field, which is actually a name field, is usually for the name of that record. Now again, the only field that you can add it to some extent is this field, Unboxx property name, which comes up because it will take up the name of the object and add name to it. So this only is the one that is we can add it, and we have 2 choices. So basically, as we already discussed in our first our first field that we need is a property name, okay, which looks good. Unboxx property name is already there, so that's good enough. Okay, we don't need to make any changes. If I want to make change, I can do that just with the edit part. See, none of them is giving you edit option anyway, so these 3 are not even editable. This one is editable to a very minimum level. Let's see what kind of addition we can do. So all I can do is maybe change the name. So instead of saying Unboxx property name, I can just call it property name. Okay, just to make it simple. And then here, I can choose either a text or an auto number. Auto number is something that if you want to start giving something automatically a number, let's say instead of name, you want to give a property number here. And automatically, anytime a new record created, it will give a new property number. So we can do that, and probably that might help you a little bit more. So instead of property name, we can actually give here property number. And okay, and we can basically create here auto number field. So I can put it here just for the reference. Okay, so that you can get a flavor of what does it mean. Obviously the name is pretty straightforward, you have a text. So instead of that, we can do auto number. So once we do auto number, it will also ask you that what is the format that you want to give. Okay, so the format can be something like I want to say PROP or PROPERTY property dash, And this is an example. I can just start the brackets. If I can find it here. And then let's say my properties are maximum gonna go like 3 digits. I can put 3 digits, 4 digits, 5 digits, whatever I want, right? So let's say 4 digits, 3 digits, and I can close the bracket. So this will be the format. So automatically, as you create the first record, it will be property -1, property next record, property -2, automatically. You don't need to come back and do that. And from where do you want to start? The first number will be, should start from 1. Okay, that's all. So when you say auto number, you need to define how does it look like, what is the format, and then where should it start. Once I do that, I can do save, and it will basically update this as an auto number. Before it was actually as text, right? So now I don't need to take an input for this field. This field will be automatically populated for me. Okay. Now very quickly, we have 9 more minutes, so hopefully we can able to achieve this, able to add these 4 fields. So the next field I want is owner name. So again, what I need is a new field. So how you can add a new field? You will see something called new, and you can just click on this and it will open up the first data type. We already decided what is the data type here, text, and what is the name of the field, owner name. You can call it property owner name. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay, so property owner name. And this will be a text. So let's go ahead and select the text. And here in the field label, we can do property owner. Length, you can choose any length. Usually 50 is good enough. And then next. Then here, the next tab is basically establish field level security. Again, this is something that we will go through in future. For now, you can skip, go to next. And then all you need to do is save and new, because we have a couple of more fields to add. So I can do save and new. The next thing I need to select is address. Again, this is a text, straightforward, same process. I can choose text. I can choose the field label, address. Choose the length. And again, for now, I can just select all the defaults and good to go. Save and new, one more, 2 more. So price, this time we need currency. So instead of that, again, I think I didn't mention that. Now here are all the different data types that we talked about. So these are all the different data types that we have: person, number, pick lists, text, and all that good stuff. So from here, you can pick up currency. And then we can put asking price. Okay, and then here again, as I said, for now, we can just skip those and just take the last one, which is cell number. This is phone type. And in the phone type, we can have phone. And this time I'm just gonna do save, so I don't have any more. All right, so we added these fields. So if you want to review, if you have all the fields, what is required. So property number, property, oh, so I forgot to, where's the property number? Okay, so here I need to make sure that I added the text also. So instead of property name, I need to have property number, so I don't misinterpret, and just save it. So the first one was property number, which is right here, auto number. The next one was owner name, which is right here, address right here, address field. Then we have asking price currency, asking price currency, and then finally we have cell number, which is phone type. Phone type. All right. So we have all the fields available here. We have we now need to go back and see if all those fields are available. One second. Okay, now we just need to see if all the fields are available. We go to Unboxx properties and we say, okay, create a new record. Okay, same thing, probably give it a little bit time so it can refresh. Oh, yeah. Okay, in the meantime, we can just quickly review the object manager. So in the object manager, let's say if we want to confirm all the fields are there, we go to Unboxx property object, we go to field and relationship, all the fields are there. We just need to make sure that they are coming up. So we can go to our main view, go back and launch our app one more time. Go to Unboxx properties. Oh, click new, still not there. So sometimes it just takes a little bit longer than anticipated, especially on Sundays, but it should be there shortly. Not ready to cooperate. Let me just try to log in back. Okay, here you go. So sometimes logging out and logging back in can help. So here, remember now we have these fields available. So let's say I want to go ahead and create my first record. You see that this property number doesn't allow you to write anything because as soon as you create a record, it will be auto-populated. Address here, asking price, let's say 550,000, and phone number, and I want to create a new record. So here you go, you created your first record. And if you notice this C property number 001, because you provide this format property -001 is automatically populated. If I very quickly create another record, okay, so the second record created, it is already automatically property 002. So here you go, you have created two new records. If I go to the first record, go to details, it is giving me the property number, person who owns this, address of the property, asking price, phone number. And if you remember, there are three other fields which we discuss about, which we don't have control, system control that created by. So if you remember, this KLE comes up. Basically, I'm logging as a KLE. So if I log in as somebody else as a user, that will also show that. This is not created by an admin. It is created by whoever created the record. So if you remember, like you have rest of the people who are creating the records on a daily basis, that will be their name. And whoever modify that, that will be their name. And who is the owner of the record, that is their name. Again, admin don't need to be owner. Whoever are creating the record, usually they are the owners, and they can transfer their ownership as well for a record if they are not working on that record anymore. So these things will be automatically controlled by the system. The only standard field, which was the first one, which you can either give it a name or a auto number. So we choose the auto number for this one. The next one, you can create a name. So if you choose a name text, then it will be also an input field. So you can provide an input, or in this case, it will be an automatic number. So basically, we able to create 2 records. So we are just a minute up, but we able to complete like a one quick application. So just a quick wrap around it. We go here, we created a new app for ourselves called Unboxx Properties. In that app, we created a tab called Unboxx Property, and this is an object as well. So if I click on that object, it has 2 new records, which has fields. So if I want to see what fields are there, these are the fields we have added. And then we created a tab so that it can be displayed on it. So make sure that when you create object, it does not automatically start showing up on the interface. You need to create a tab for it. And once you create the tab and assign the right application, then it will start showing up on whatever application you choose. I can also choose this tab to appear on multiple applications, but at the end of the day, the data will be going to the same object. So we probably discuss about that in future sessions, but hopefully for now, you can able to do all of these things on your own. So by the time next time when we meet, you can be able to create your own application, object, fields, and basically records. And we can take it from this point onwards. So with that, let me go ahead and end our session today. I'm not going to close the session.